And we are live with episode 186 of the Start, Build, Grow Show. What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 186 of the Start, Build, Grow Show over 3.5 years later. And we are still rolling strong. Mr. Randy Brothers, he's got the day off today. I think he's kind of turning into one of those NBA players. They start to, take rest every week or so for like back spasms and stuff like that, or maybe he's just getting older and he can't keep up with me anymore. I'm not 100% sure, but nonetheless, we got another great guest in the house. So I'm super excited. But we got Dylan McCabe here once again with Limitless Roofing GPO. How we doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, so you guys are getting all sorts of weather. You're out in the Dallas area, man. You're getting all sorts of weather out there already, hey?
Yeah, man. From hail to tornadoes, it's all coming down over this last week.
Man, it's wild. Well, hey, Dylan, it's always a pleasure to have you on. You're a great person in the industry. A lot of information, always looking to help and provide value to others. So super excited to have you on, man. So let's kind of go back in the background. For those who maybe missed the last episode or don't know about your background. You're in the roofing space now, right? You have, this thing called a roofing GPO, which we'll kind of go into what that actually means for those who don't know here in a little bit. But what's your background, Dylan?
Yeah, so I've done a few things over the years. I was in digital marketing for a couple of years in an agency that got pretty big across the U.S., and then got into healthcare for a couple of years with a technology and consulting company, and that was really cool. Those guys are gonna have an amazing journey ahead of them. They're doing really well in healthcare, and I was in a state of transition for a little bit, looking at what I wanted to get into next. And I had this buddy named Miller Whedon, and he had owned a roofing company. I'm like, man, every year in December, this guy takes like a whole month off and goes deer hunting and does whatever he wants. And then in the summer, they go on these long vacations. I'm like, he seems to be living a decent lifestyle. I'm going to talk to Miller about getting into roofing. And so long story short, that was about 2 years ago, and I've been in roofing for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. So what do you like the best, then? Healthcare, digital marketing, or roofing?
Roofing the best.
Yeah.
Roofing the
why
best
is that?
because I think it's such a simple thing you're doing. You're helping someone with a roof over their head. You are helping them in a very specific, practical way, and your target market is massive. So unlike a lot of niches I've been into, in competitive spaces as well, in roofing, you got a wide open target market. Everybody needs a roof, and I think it's a lucrative business. Obviously, the business model is strong. You can be profitable as long as you got some business sense, and you can scale and grow. So yeah, I love the roofing business model. Once I got into it with Miller, my first couple of months selling roofs, I told him, man, this is incredible. This is an incredible industry. It's an incredible business model, and it's a great product to sell. I mean, it's very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a fantastic industry. Like, very similar to you. I did some digital marketing stuff. I was in the software side of things, kind of ended up in roofing, and I'm very glad I did. It's such a great opportunity for anybody to grow a career and, have success financially and everything like that. So completely agree with you there. So now, GPO. Okay. First off, what does GPO stand for? All right. And where did this come from?
Yeah. What is a GPO? That's a question we hear 100% of the time. GPO means Group Purchasing Organization. The idea actually comes from the world of healthcare. GPOs are very prevalent in healthcare. There's hundreds of them, if not thousands. I'm not really sure how many GPOs there are, but I'm willing to bet every single doctor you've ever seen or I've ever seen belongs to a GPO, because the cost of business is constantly going up, right? That's a problem for everybody. We're getting letters from manufacturers saying shingle prices are increasing. Well, it's the same for physicians. Their cost of business is constantly going up. And a lot like roofers, independent doctors have to buy a ton of supplies and drugs to keep their medical practices going.
Yeah.
But unlike roofers, physicians have actually done a great job of coming together. And I think that's a weakness in the roofing industry. We're not great at coming together. But in healthcare, they'll come together. Hundreds or even thousands of physicians will come together and they'll form these groups called group purchasing organizations, and they do some really cool stuff. They create a lot of leverage together.
And so then how did you decide to bring this into the roofing industry then? All right. So you saw it in the medical space, how did you kind of realize this is an opportunity for contractors?
Well, we started these CEO groups about a year and a half ago, and at the same time, we started kind of looking around. And I just started looking around, and I asked Miller, "Where are the GPOs in roofing?" I actually had lunch with my former employer a couple of years back, who owns the technology company and consulting company I was with, and I told him about our new venture in roofing, Limitless, and he said, "Man, you should start a GPO." And I just didn't even really. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's a cool idea." And went back to eating my sushi, and I got to thinking about it. Where are the GPOs in roofing? Where are the group purchasing organizations in roofing that bring hundreds or thousands of contractors together to make more money, to get the best deals possible and stuff like that? And I asked Miller, where are they? He said, well, what's a GPO? And I started getting that answer from everybody. And I thought, oh man, there's an opportunity here.
And I mean, I couldn't agree more. I was looking around online trying to figure out if there was anything after we spoke, and I was like, man, this is something that contractors need. All right, and so you kind of broke it down for 3 critical components, right, to growing a successful roofing company. Right, we have relationships, resources, revenue, all things that I believe that being a part of a GPO can provide. But let's dive deep into that. Right, so that first key component is going to be relationships. So how can you kind of build on that?
Yeah, our thought of when you join our group, the 3 pillars of our group are relationships, resources, and revenue. And that comes in the 2 main things that start to happen when you join the group is you get a lot of business training as a leader, because we all know the challenge to be a leader is great. You've got to constantly sharpen your skills to plan, to systematize, simplify things, delegate, communicate, all these things you have to do as a leader. So you get a lot of that, but then the relationship side of it is, we all know that where we are today is because of the people that have poured into us. Like I can think of a few guys right now that have played critical roles in my life and have made me the leader I am today. And I know you can too. We all can. And so we want to cultivate that. So when you join our group, the biggest thing you get is relationships. You get to network with other owners of roofing companies. That way you're not just talking to a consultant or a coach or an industry expert. Even though there's equal value there, it's just a different type of relationship, a different type of connection. And so we have monthly mastermind meetings.
That sounds pretty good.
A lot of people
Like
are doing
that.
stuff like that, but the goal of our masterminds, they're formatted a very specific way. And it's designed so that you can share a challenge you have as an owner, and you share about that for 5 to 10 minutes. And then every other member of our mastermind meeting during that meeting shines with the light of their knowledge and their experience on your challenge. Maybe you come in. We had a member just last week, and they said, you know what? We've hit a plateau and we can't seem to break through this ceiling of hiring and recruiting and onboarding. We just can't seem to recruit people the right way, get them trained the way we want, and get the outcomes we want. Every other member in that group, and we've got members that are doing from up to 75 million a year in gross revenue to 1 million a year, and everybody has helpful insight. Everybody had helpful questions to ask. So you just get to tap into the power of those relationships instead of operating in isolation on your own.
That's what it is as an entrepreneur, right? As an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you tend to kind of go into isolation, right? It's one of these weird things, as a business owner or a leader, of a company, nobody really keeps you accountable, right? Your job is to keep everybody else accountable, make sure that everything else is getting done, right. But when you have a problem, who do you go to? Right. Or to make sure that you're on task or prioritizing the right things, who do you go to? You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where no one is really watching out for you. So when you meet in a space like this, right, people there are either having the problem that you have or have already solved the problem that you have. Right. So coming together, sharing that, right. Not only does it help you at like just problem solving, because it kind of puts you in the shape or in the shoes of other owners, but it allows you to solve your own problems and kind of get that entrepreneurial therapy, if you will.
Totally, man. There's a verse in the Bible that says there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. And that's you're limited on your own. hence the name Limitless. Like we're removing the limits,
Exactly.
right, on your own knowledge and experience. And I think about that scene from Gladiator,
Yeah.
when they're in that Coliseum and they're all separate, they're all fighting separately, and they're just getting destroyed by all these chariot fighters. These chariots are running around this Coliseum. And Maximus is like, together, as one. And they form the shield formation. They just start dominating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference. Like, you don't need to fight the battle of being a business owner on your own. Join a group, tap the knowledge, experience, and strength of the other members. And that's the power of those relationships.
Mm-hmm. And as your business grows, right? So as you develop, your business grows, you start bringing more revenue, you have a bigger team, right? I think it's easy to sometimes forget to look for this kind of help, right? But if you look at it, like if you look at a kid just starting football, peewee, some quarterback, right? He's got a coach. All the way till he gets to the NFL, he's got a coach, right? So it's always a good idea to be looking up to somebody or having people to kind of go to as you grow. You always want the environment, no matter how good you get.
Totally, man.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
So that's reason one right there, right? Is the relationship. So making sure that you're networking, and you think about this: if they got anything that's working too on that side, so they got stuff that's working, right? New tools, new resources, all that kind of stuff. They're going to tell you about it too, right? So there's a bunch of stuff that you might not even know about if you don't go to this kind of stuff. What about resources? You want to dive into that one next?
Yeah, for resources, I have an undergrad in organizational leadership, and one of the things that we broke down your leadership into 4 key areas, and that's character, vision, skills, and relationships. And the true north is always character. Everything comes back to character, right? And that's something that's really hard to train. Like, you got to want that internally. You got to want to be the best person if you're going to be a person of integrity. But as far as the vision, the planning and execution, and the skills part, we can train on that. And that's where the resources come in. We've already talked about the relationship part. But to have a strong leadership compass and to have a clear direction, you've definitely got to sharpen those skills of planning, communicating, delegating, and so on. And so what we've done is we partnered with the best minds in the industry, guys like Randy Brothers, Ryan Groth, Heath Hicks, and many others who are well respected and admired in the industry. And they do monthly trainings inside our group. We actually have a group training schedule we're going to put on our website here pretty soon. But that way you can know, hey, once a month, I've got a mastermind where I learn from other owners. And once a month, I've also got a training to where I'm constantly getting the resources I need to grow my business in specific things, whether it's sales and marketing, operations, or finance. And we want to get the very best out of all the options out there. We're trying to distill them down to, hey, here's what you need. If it comes to recruiting and onboarding, here's the best training. If it comes to streamlining your operations, here's the best training. If it comes to the right kind of software and technology processes, you need to talk to Nick Perrette. We really want to. There you go. So that's what it is. It's just simplifying, clearing the fog on all the options, and making a clear path forward for our members.
Yeah, and when you're joining this kind of stuff too, you're creating habits, right? So you're committing to the continued growth and development of you as a business owner. So if you think about it, like let's say that you hit $1 million, right? You hit $1 million, you feel good, you're pumped up, you learned a lot along the way. Now the skills, the knowledge, the resources, all that kind of stuff, right, that got you to that $1 million is not going to get you to 5 or 10, right? So when you commit to that growth and development, good things happen, right? Not only for you personally, but for the business, and then at a culture standpoint too, right? You got to think at a culture standpoint, you want that culture that's all about growth and development. If the owner does that, usually the team will follow.
Yeah, and it's a lot of what you guys do. I mean, you guys offer a program to where somebody is committed to working on their business, not just in their business. So the big question that I ask people, whether they join us or not, is what are you doing? What are you doing as a business owner to constantly strengthen the skills that are needed, that you need to be an effective leader? You're either effective or ineffective, to steal the line from Extreme Ownership, those Navy SEALs. Like they say, there's only 2 kinds of leaders: effective and ineffective. So what are you doing to constantly strengthen your skills as a leader? You need to be somewhere cultivating that, whether it's us or sometimes we point people to you guys. If you want like an awesome online course that's going to teach you all the components of your business, you need to check out the Roofing Academy. We don't offer anything like that, but whatever it is, every leader out there, we all need to tap resources to strengthen our skills.
Exactly. I mean, me too. I know when I'm on point, right? I'm on point when I'm investing in things like this. I'm in a group with entrepreneurs, right? We meet up once a month, right? For a half a day or whatever it might be. And we do something very similar. And I love it. For me, it's the spot where I can bring my problem. It makes me stay accountable. I bring my numbers even, right? So I like that kind of stuff. Anything that kind of make me look at my numbers and stuff like that. And if you're not doing that, yet for your business, that's something that you want to be doing for sure, is be looking at those numbers. But be definitely checking this stuff out. It's definitely big. And now obviously the last one is revenue, right? So that's a big one there. So what do you mean when you say revenue?
So the revenue side is the real clear-cut one, where it's easy to put down on paper, but the bottom line is we want to make our members more profitable. With the cost of business constantly going up and your profit margins constantly shrinking, we want to start expanding them again. And so what a group purchasing organization really does in healthcare is create a lot of leverage with buying power. So instead of you as an independent owner going to get healthcare insurance or going to get a deal with a technology company or whatever, you have very little leverage. But as a group, when we can say, hey, there's 1,000 of us, if we all buy from you or spend the bulk of our money with you, what kind of deal can we form? What kind of long-term relationship can we form? It's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
So our buying power really comes in two forms. We help our members make more money, and that's through a very generous growth incentive program or rebate program, whatever you want to call it. And we also help our members save money because we've negotiated special discounts with industry vendors, whether it's Roofers Choice Insurance or Sumo Quote or whatever. All the vendors that a lot of your listeners and our listeners are already using. We've negotiated the best deals possible we can as a group.
Which is so big, right? So as a business owner, when you grow, you want to make sure that you're using your resources to create leverage in any way you can, right? I do want to take a quick break to thank our sponsors. Then I would kind of go into, hey, how does a roofing business owner know if this is a right fit for them, how they can get started, and then ways to kind of maximize and make sure they're really taking advantage of the GPO. So we're going to start here quickly. Once I get this up with our headline sponsor, Job Nimbus.
Job Nimbus is a fully customizable back office solution.
Track leads, jobs, tasks from one easy-to-use software.
And with the largest ecosystem of integrated partners, if we don't do it, we have a friend who does.
Learn how the #1 back office system in roofing
can help you be efficient, be organized, be professional, and be profitable.
All right. So if you have not checked out Job Nimbus yet, make sure you do it. info.jobnimbus.com/roofing-academy. And then next, you're going to need leads to fill up that CRM system. So check out Hook.
Is it time to turn the heat up on your marketing?
Our website's now been live for 4 months. We did just under $100,000 of leads coming out of organic SEO.
Oh, so you got to check out Hook Agency at hookagency.com. And okay, because there's the storms are getting going, Dylan's already been hit a few times out there, it seems like, and plus Randy's hasn't made it on the show yet today. So we got to put his face up there. We got a hail trace.
If you're in the hail game, if you're working hail claims and selling roofs that have hail damage, you need to know where the hail is, how big the hail is, and when it hailed. I mean, if you're on the fence, it's a game changer.
Boom. All right, cool. So I wanted to go into, as a business owner, how do you know if this is the right fit for you for your roof company?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I can't help but comment on how healthy Randy's beard looked in that promo.
Wait, didn't he look way better back then, man? I'm telling you, that's when he was a young gun, man, making it happen, man. That's a couple of years old now, so
that was awesome. Yeah, I think The question as to whether or not you're a fit for the limitless GPO or group purchasing organization is, do you see that as a pain point? Do you see, is the cost of business something that bothers you or drives you a little crazy? Do you have a network of other roofing owners that you meet with every single month, or is it just kind of out there where you talk to somebody maybe once every few months, or you go to a conference and sit down with some guys and chat for 30 minutes? And then do you have the best deals possible with other vendors and your distributor partner? If you can't confidently answer all those, then you're a good fit. If you're in the roofing business, that's the point, is to bring as many of us together so that we can help one another. Iron sharpens iron, we sharpen one another. And also the rising tide raises all ships financially. The more money we spend as a group, the better deals we get. So everybody wins.
So how do you break it up too? So let's say we have a ton of roofing companies sign up for this GPO. Do you kind of break up the groups then that meet in the masterminds, or what does that look like?
We do. So we, in our masterminds, are capped at 30 people. So my business mentor is a guy in Dallas that I won't mention his name because you'll know what company he sold, and had a very successful company. But since he sold his company about 15 years ago and had a very, very healthy exit from that company, he started giving back, and he started hosting these meetings called Shine meetings. And what he would do is, you could say, hey, I'm Nick Perrette. I've launched this new technology company, and here's kind of the biggest challenge I'm facing right now. And he would say, okay, you know what? I'm going to invite 30 people. We're going to come meet at we're going to meet at this meeting place where I host these events, and I'm going to cater lunch. We're going to meet together for 2 hours. I'm going to let you share for like 10 minutes about your biggest challenge right now. I'm going to invite strategic people, and everybody else is going to weigh in and shine on your situation. And you walk away with, the best advice and wisdom you can get, right? So that's where this idea really came from. They're capped at 30 people, they're 90 minutes, but the whole goal is you as a member get to sit in the spotlight, and everybody else for the next 80 minutes focuses on you, helps you get past that barrier that you're in front of right now.
That's so good. Really, man, when it comes down to it, it's community, right? Community. If you're meeting with these people on a regular basis, right? Like I said, they're giving you those resources, but think about it, when you really do hit those challenges, and we all know as entrepreneurs too, how brutal is it, right? When you have those lows, those low days, and to have a community to kind of rely on to help you with those challenges is what really keeps you going. So that's big. So now, any other advice on how I can really maximize the group if I decide to join?
Yeah, I think, it's the two things we want is, we want you to become a better leader, a better business owner, and become wiser and also more profitable. But some people say, oh, well, that's, it's all about the rebate program or limitless GPO. We do offer a generous rebate program through our supplier partner, but it's not just about the rebate. Like, if all you care about is saving some money, it's not a good fit for you, because you can go and get into a dog fight and put suppliers against one another and say, give me a better rebate, give me whatever. But if you're not growing as a leader, you may not be in business in 5 years. So who cares about a rebate program? Like, a rebate program is not the silver bullet to your business. It really is all three pillars. You've got to have healthy relationships. You've got to have ongoing resources for your own training and your company's training. And you also have to be more profitable and have an expanding bottom line. So it's all three. That's one thing that people do get caught up on. It's like, oh, well, what rebate can I? Okay, maybe we can give you a better rebate program, but man, if that's all you care about, you're not a good fit. You need to be a growth-minded leader.
Yeah, leadership development is more important than a rebate program, right? So if you're able to get leadership development, you can't really put a value to that, right? Because if you think about a leadership standpoint, obviously, the business is going to be more successful, everyone in the company is going to be more successful, whatnot, but you also attract better people. When you're a really good leader, people hear about it, they want to go there, right? Everybody works for a good leader. People don't leave the company, they leave the manager or the boss, right? So it's huge. So what do you guys do on the leadership development side? Is that really the masterminds, or what's really good? Because that catches my eye there, because that's really big.
Yeah, the masterminds, and then the ongoing training, and we facilitate some trainings too. That's my passion, is leadership development. I love learning about leadership. I've always got a couple of books going. on leadership.
What you got for suggestions on books? What books you got over there, man? For I see you got a bookshelf over there.
Yeah, I know, man. I sold after getting out of going through Bible college and seminary, man. They just bury you in books. I mean, bury you in books. And so
you read them all, or what? You read them all?
So one of the first courses you take at Dallas Theological Seminary is a speed reading course. So it depends on how you define the term read. I have scanned a lot of books.
Yeah,
I've read a lot.
I'm surprised they don't teach you that though in like just normal, like any college, like speed reading. You feel like that's such a valuable skill to have.
Yeah, no, it is so valuable. Yeah, but I've read most of them. But my favorite leadership book is it's called The Greatest Thing in the World. It's a tiny little book by Henry Drummond.
Really?
And he basically just unpacks what love is.
Wow.
According to the biblical definition of love. But the thing that got me about that book is in the beginning of the book, there's an intro by D.L. Moody, the famous evangelist who's long since passed away, right? But he writes about Henry Drummond in the intro, and he says, I never met a man more Christ-like than Henry Drummond. And when I read that, I got teared up because I thought, you know what? No one could say that about me.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me want to be a great person. It made me want to be a great guy. And I remember one of my mentors telling me one time, he said, you know what? People are going to forget 90% of what you say, but they're never going to forget what it's like to be around you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
all about how you make people feel, right?
Yeah, and how much you really care. I mean, it really is about that. So, man, if you got a weak prayer life, that'll definitely add to it. You know, we all know what our weaknesses are, and we need to know what our strengths are too. But that ongoing leadership development is the key of it all.
I mean, think about it. You said how much you actually care. So think about how much you actually care about your team members, your customers, right? Your friends, your family, all that kind of stuff. The way you actually care, it's crazy. People feel that, they want to be around that, and they want to make you feel good as well. So even at employee standpoint, when if you're a great leader and you make them feel valued and cared about, it goes a long way. You know what I mean? It really goes a long way, and they're going to want to do the same thing for you.
Yep. So true, man. And when you combine that great leadership with some buying power and some really good deals, now you can step away from your company. You can see your bottom line increasing. You can see your profit margins going up every year. I mean, that's an exciting thing. So
it really is, man. Well, as we start to kind of bring this thing to a close, it's been pretty awesome to have you on. It's always a pleasure hanging out. What's the best way to kind of get a hold of you? Then we'll kind of go into like a golden nugget or something that you want to leave the viewers with in terms of tips, advice, whatever it might be, wisdom's quote, whatever it might be. What's the best way to get a hold of you if they want to learn more?
Yeah, people can go to it. And thanks for sharing our website. People can go to roofinggpo.com, and GPO stands for Group Purchasing Organization. We've also got a Facebook community we're starting to build specifically around this new venture. And it's the Limitless Facebook group. So people can check that out there. But that's a great way to get started, and people can schedule a short call with us and see if it's a fit.
And you got some pretty cool people that are involved on your website that are supporting this too. When you're looking at some of the biggest names in the industry, they're backing up. So that definitely says a lot, man. So, all right, now, and I'm excited for this. Usually Randy has to go first. That buys the guest some time, but you've always been good under pressure. So what do you want to leave our viewers with, in terms of insights or whatever it might be?
Man, I would say make an A in life. There's a lot of guys that are trying to make an A in business, and they're making a B or a C or a D.
That's good.
In their relationships with their spouses, their kids are making an F in their personal health. Don't sacrifice all of life so you can make an A in business and fail at the rest of life. Make an A in life. And if that means making a B in business, that's okay. If you're working 80 hours a week and your kids are asking, when am I going to see daddy or when am I going to see mommy? You got some priorities that need to be rearranged. So I think that's a big challenge to anybody listening to this is strive to make an A in life. Don't make an F. Don't make an F in life when you're making an A in business.
I like that a lot, man. That is really good because Hey, it doesn't matter how good the business is. If you're not happy, what's the point, man? So if you make sure that you're crushing in life and you're making time for the loved ones, everybody you care about, it usually comes back around because you're going to be in a good mood. You're going to be in a good place. You're going to be full high performance at work. It's a win-win. All right. So don't forget that. I like that one a lot. But Dylan, thanks so much for joining us for episode 186 of the Start Build Grow Show.
Man, thanks for having me.